This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. Island-wide travel restrictions extended until 21st of June. Chinese ambassador says China has never turned away any request of Sri Lanka at a time of urgency. COVID caseloads moves up by 2,232 more tests positive today. The U.S. provides $100,000 to support response efforts to Express Pearl fire. Defense Secretary Kamal Gunaratne thanked the Indian government for providing technical assistance through the Indian Coastal Protection Vessel to control the Express Pearl fire. A special technical team from the UK has visited Nicobar coastal area today to ascertain and assess the environmental damages caused due to Express Pearl merchant vessel, which caught fire in the Sri Lankan water and coastal areas. Chinese ambassador says China has never turned away any request of Sri Lanka. News overseas, Israel top spy reveals Mossad operations against Iran. And in sports news, LPL 2021 to go ahead as planned in July-August. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the local news. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva says that the decision has been taken to further extend the island-wide travel restrictions until the 21st of June, that's Monday. The travel restrictions were currently in effect across the island, had been initially extended until the 7th of June and once again extended until 4 a.m. on the 14th of June. However, it has now been decided that the travel restrictions will not be lifted on 14th June and instead it would continue until 4 a.m. on the 21st of June. The Army commander, however, noted that several services, including essential services, will be permitted during the travel restriction period. Accordingly, apparel factories, major construction sites, weekly villages, that's Satipola, agricultural and organic fertilizer production activities will be allowed to function under health guidelines. He said that the dates for the opening of banks and dedicated economic centers will be notified later. The Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Wee Wong Hong, says China has never turned away any request of Sri Lanka at a time of urgency. The Chinese government helped Sri Lanka in an honest and transparent manner at all instances. The Chinese ambassador made these remarks at the opening function of the National Nephrology Hospital held in Polonnaruwa today. The ambassador further said that China and Sri Lanka have strong bilateral ties for a long time. The United States is providing Sri Lanka with an immediate assistance of $100,000 to support the response efforts to the MV Express Pearl cargo ship fire, the U.S. Embassy in Colombo stated today. MV Express Pearl has discharged plastics, debris and chemical waste into the surrounding waters, endangering coastal resources and the livelihoods of nearby fishing communities. The assistance will deliver immediate support to families whose livelihoods were affected by this emergency and expand ongoing support responses for coordination and management, the embassy further stated. The United States is providing this assistance through the U.S. Agency for International Development, that is USAID's implementing partners. The United States is committed to helping mitigate environmental impacts from the MV Express Pearl fire, Charge d'Affaires Martin Kelly has said. This immediate assistance will support the livelihoods and enable the fisherfolk and their families to cope with the developing situation. The United States and Sri Lanka have worked to develop local emergency responses capabilities for many years, including training on maritime disaster response, the statement further added. The USAID, the U.S. Forest Services and the U.S. Department for Defense also provide funding that helps manage and mitigate flooding and landslides and enable communities to prepare and better recover from disasters, it added. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
And we continue with more local news. Defense Secretary Kamal Gunaratne thanked the Indian government for providing technical assistance through the Indian Coastal Protection Vessel to control the Express Pearl fire. The Defense Secretary extended his gratitude on behalf of Sri Lankan government to the Indian High Commissioner Gopal Bagle today. The Defense Secretary conveyed this message at a special meeting held with the Indian High Commissioner at the Defense Ministry today. A special technical team from the UK has visited Negombo coastal area today to ascertain and assess the environmental damage caused due to Express Pearl merchant vessel fire in the Sri Lankan water and the coastal areas. The process also includes the assessment of the solid waste mixed with ocean waters and any possibility of oil or chemical leaks. As many as 2,232 people have tested positive for novel coronavirus today, the Ministry of Health reported. All new cases are associated with the new year COVID-19 cluster. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thus far to 218,366. As per the official data, 32,291 coronavirus infected persons are currently being treated at designated hospitals and treatment centers across the island. Meanwhile, the number of total recoveries has reached 184,090 and the death toll stands at 2,011. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. Island-wide travel restrictions extended until the 21st of June. Chinese ambassador says China has never turned away any request of Sri Lanka at a time of urgency. COVID caseload moves up as 2,232 more test positive today. The U.S. provides $100,000 to support response efforts of the Express Pearl fire. Defense Secretary Kamal Gunaratne thanked the Indian government for providing technical assistance through the Indian Coastal Protection Vessel to control the Express Pearl fire. A special technical team from the UK has visited Negombo and the coastal area today to ascertain and assess the environmental damage caused due to Express Pearl merchant vessel fire in the Sri Lankan waters and the coastal areas. And that was the local news.
Nobody looks for hotels like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for tonight. Minister Mahindananda Aluthkamge says that 11 alliance parties of the government also extended their full support to the government's organic fertilizer promotional drive. Earlier, the coalition partners did not have a clear idea about this concept. But the alliance partners now have a clear understanding of the government's policy in promoting the organic fertilizers, the ministry added. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And in Washlet tonight, the motorists entering the city limits are advised to follow the sticker system strictly. The police said colour codes were given earlier this week. The colour codes are given according to the necessity, requirement, frequency of travelling, occasional travelling and other requirements of essential services. Police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohan warned that any attempts to alter the passenger information on the stickers may be futile as the stickers have their own security features. The stickers will be issued after checking the workplace identity card, national identity card and the permission letter issued by the respective institutions, the police spokesman noted. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry requests the general public to follow the health guidelines strictly. It also emphasized the importance of following the quarantine law regulations. The regulations including wearing face masks, maintaining social distance and washing their hands with sanitizers are important, it added. And that came to you in Watchlight, and now we move on to the headlines of the world news. Israel's top spy reveals Mossad operations against Iran. Hong Kong to censor films that endanger national security. Texas governor promises to build border wall amid migrant surge. Those were the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. The outgoing head of the Israeli spy agency, Mossad, has given a revelatory interview about the country's operations against Iran. Yossi Cohen gave details about the theft of Iran's nuclear archive. The warehouse raid in 2018 ferried tens of thousands of documents out of the country to Israel. He also hinted that Israeli involvement in the destruction of Iran's nuclear facility at Natanz and the assassination of a nuclear scientist. Mr. Cohen retired as the head of Mossad last week. Censors in Hong Kong have been given the power to vet films that authorities say may endanger national security as the clampdown on dissent continues. The order also instructs censors to prevent and suppress acts that do not uphold the sovereignty and territorial integrity of China. Hong Kong's thriving film industry had previously enjoyed freedoms not seen on the mainland. Last year, Beijing imposed a new law to stamp out pro-democracy protests. The governor of Texas has vowed to build a wall on its border with Mexico amid a surge of illegal migration. Republican Greg Abbott said that he had allocated $1 billion in state funds to uphold the border security. Mr. Abbott said, while securing the border is the federal government's responsibility, Texas will not sit idle as the crisis grows. One of President Joe Biden's first acts in office was to end border wall construction. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Israel's top spy reveals Mossad operations against Iran. Hong Kong to censor films that endanger national security. Texas governor promises to build border wall amid migrant surge. That was the world news, and now we move on to development news. The Chinese government has so far extended financial support to 36 mega projects and 160 main projects in Sri Lanka. In addition, China is also helping Sri Lanka in social, economic development and livelihood development activities. Special training programs for the professionals is also another aspect of the Chinese development support project. That was the development news, and now we move on to sports news. The second edition of Sri Lanka Premier League LPL will go ahead as planned from July 30th to August 22nd. Sri Lanka Cricket has confirmed, dispelling fears that the tournament may have to be postponed in the light of rising coronavirus cases in the country. SLC wishes to reiterate that the second edition of the Lanka Premier League will be held during July and August 2021, as earlier announced, the board said in a statement. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Business news tonight. Alliance Insurance Lanka Limited joined hands with Ideal Motors and its subsidiary Ideal First Choice to facilitate free motor vehicle insurance for its vehicles in selected classes and vehicle damage repairs at Ideal First Choice and Ideal Motor Body and Paint Shops island-wide. By the way of this partnership, Ideal will offer free insurance to all brand new Mahindra commercial 2-wheel and 3-wheel vehicles. In addition, they will offer attractive benefits to new vehicle owners who acquire their insurance from Allianz. Ideal has a wide network of garages in key locations across the island, which have been incorporated into the Allianz Lanka garage network. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And in economic news, Sri Lanka Salt Limited Hambantota, which suffered 200 million rupees loss in the year 2019 under the previous regime, has made a dramatic turnaround and has posted 47 million rupee profits for the year 2020. Chairman Nishada Sadbadarana, speaking to the media, said that they hope to improve this to around 79 million rupees by the end of the year 2021 using several new management tools and cost-cutting measures. That was economic news, and the weather report report to conclude.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, the weather report, the Met Department says showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in the Gaul, Mathura, Nuwara and Kandy districts. Fairly heavy falls, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in the Nuwara district. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province during the evening or night. Wind speed can increase up to 40 kilometers per hour at times at the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the International Weather Forecast website AccuWeather.com predicts that Colombo weather could be fair with scattered light showers in the night. The Colombo temperature would be around 30 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. Today's weather would be around 27 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers with occasional thunderstorm. Cloudy weather will prevail tomorrow with a temperature of 30 centigrades. Light showers could be expected early in the morning and in the evening. The air quality index AQI is 19, which show generally a fair condition. The air quality is ideal for most individuals to enjoy their normal outdoor activities. And that was the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. Island-wide travel restrictions extended until 21st of June. China's ambassador says China has never turned away any request from Sri Lanka at a time of urgency. COVID caseload moves up at 2,232 more tests positive today. The US provides $100,000 to support response efforts of the Express Pearl fire. Defense Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne thanked the Indian government for providing technical assistance through the Indian Coastal Protection Vessel to control the Express Pearl fire. A special technical team from the UK has visited Negombo coastal area today to ascertain and assess the environmental damage caused due to Express Pearl merchant vessel fire in the Sri Lankan waters and the coastal areas. In news overseas, Israel ex-top spy reveals Mossad operations against Iran. And in sports news, LPL 2021 to go ahead as planned in July-August. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. Now it's back to your Friday evening host and my good friend Geethanjali on the other side of the glass panel to keep you entertained.